Hey guys, Cam315 back with another video, and anyways,
Go on.
back with another video, guys, with my friend the Red Wolf / Denzel Hernandez.
It's going.
So last time we did one of these, we reviewed season 1, and we got our thoughts, and here we are for season 2. Season 2, I would say up the antes in a way. We're really near the tail end of the season. It really upped the antes. And I thought season 2 was a show that did a lot better.
Yeah.
Or was, well, I'm not saying did a lot better, but it was better than season 1 because things going on in season 2 were really good. Character development out the wazoo. And that final climax battle was really good. I liked it. I loved it. But anyways, we're here to talk about My Hero Academia Season 2. What we thought about it as we're getting ready and prepared for My Hero Academia Season 4 coming out later October. So, any thoughts? What you thought about Season 2?
Like you said, it's better than season 1, and it's only getting better. Just that's all I'm gonna say.
I would probably. I think season 2 might be my favorite season of My Hero Academia.
I'd still put season 3 on my top favorite, in my opinion. Just my opinion. But we'll get to that in a later video.
Yeah. And the reason why season 2 is my favorite is like you said, season 3 is really good. I think season 2 is my favorite because there was so much character development in the show at this point on, because in this point on, they didn't focus really about Deku most of the time. They really only gave Deku that one moment in the middle part of the season. And then they shifted to other characters like Todoroki, Ida, a little bit of Momo,
Even Ochako.
Ochako at the beginning of season 2. Not much Bakugo until really the until the second to last finale of the episode. They gave a little character development at the end of the season towards Shigarashi and his motives of what he will do later in the show and what he's going to want to accomplish.
Yeah.
What is it? I'm trying to remember any more characters that got some shine. Not really. I think those are really the main people that got their shine, really. And yeah, with season 2, the difference between season 1 and 2 is, and it even went on to season 3, is season 1 only had 13 episodes. Season 2 and even season 3, they changed it from 13 and gave them more episodes to 20 and up the episodes to 25 episodes. Because probably because the show was doing really good, and people demanded for more. So
It's true.
So yeah, basically season 2 leads off where season 1 left off. It was probably they say in the show it's probably like a few months after the USJ attack, right? Or a few weeks after the USJ attack.
A few weeks, months?
Probably a month.
Yeah, at least. Maybe.
And then you can talk about what they're expecting to do now, like the first part of the season 2.
Like they're gonna do like that competition thing, right? Like where they're gonna challenge other like classes.
Yeah, the sports festival.
The sports festival. Yeah, that's pretty much a pretty big role, because ever since that attack on the USJ, all the other classes are kind of like, I don't know, they're kind of like mad dogging them in a way, like saying like they think they're all that because they were taking on some villains. And
And it becomes the trope whenever the class 1A, and I said this in my last video of season 1, like it was only the beginning for class 1A where now people are like eyeing them and stuff like that. And it also goes to show because they got publicity now, not only off what they did in the sports festival, but this is probably in the news as well of what happened and how class 1A survived this. And what is it? So like you were saying at the beginning, what is it? All the other classes at UA were like in front of their basically school homeroom and like, listen, you guys may have defeated some villains, but we ain't no slouches either. And then Doc just walked and was like, I'm gonna beat all of you. And I was like, and it was funny because the entire class was like, what are you doing? You're gonna make us hate her. And it was funny. So basically, before the sports festival starts off, Todoroki, this is where Todoroki's time. This season is really his shining season, where he becomes, I wouldn't say becomes. He stands out to be one of the more main lead characters of the show.
Yeah, as you guys may not know, Todoroki is by far my favorite character aside from Izuku Midoriya. Yeah, because I don't know, he has such a tragic backstory with his mom and his dad. Like, I can't help but like, I don't know.
And to basically go into it, his dad is the number 2 hero behind All Might, and basically, and his dad is, what's his dad's name? Crap. Well, I forgot his dad's name. And crazy that I forgot his dad's name because it's on the tip of my tongue, but I just forgot. But Endeavor. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's on my mind too.
But anyways, basically, Endeavor wanted to create the perfect sibling to him that would basically take the role of being the number 1 hero in the future and beating All Might, because that's what he wanted to do. So basically, in the term, he did Old Man Classic's way of buying a wife, basically. And listen, let's just be real. When they later explained how basically Todoroki was conceived, it was ominously, basically kind of rape, in a way. Like, he basically just had no purpose for his wife, and really never showed love and compassion to her. And he just used her as something to get a child to not only surpass him, but to surpass All Might.
Yeah.
And it goes to show that, and it's another real world element where there are men actually that will do that. They want a good genotype of a woman to match with their good genotype, and they'll abuse a woman just to get what they want. And if that's just a kid that has unanimous talent just to do that, it's a really selfish thing.
Yeah.
And it goes to show that even though he's a number 2 hero,
he's kind of...
he doesn't act like one.
Yeah.
Because he's just a selfish individual. And this really goes into the Todoroki backstory and his character development of not using his fire side.
Yeah. Pretty much all because like his hatred towards his father and how he like refuses to use that fire out of that reason.
And then we'll get into him and Deku's battle, but before this sports festival, Todoroki got up to him and was like, look, I saw what you did against Bakugo, and I saw what happened at the USJ. Just let it be known you're my rival, and I'm out to beat you. Because later, um, he he later during the UA Sports Festival, after the first like part of the theme, the festival, he later talks to Deku and is basically like, "What's your deal with All Might? Are you like his?" But he used a funny term for it. Are you like his? I forgot, but he was basically telling Deku like, "What are you, his secret love child or something like that?" And Deku's like, "No, no, no," because Deku he still has to keep a secret that he has no relation to All Might because of his powers, because All Might's powers are one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
And even before the sports festival, the one thing I liked about what All Might said is was that he has to go out there and he has to go basically make a name for himself and say, "I'm here. It's my time to shine now. I want to be the next All Might," in a sense.
Yeah.
And it was pretty inspirational because that's what most people try to do out in the real world. They try to make their name, get their name out there, whether it's internships or big showings. And this even goes into the sports world. And I know you're not really into sports, but you can understand, like, if you're a college student and you want to get drafted by a professional team, you have to put a good enough effort on the field or on the baseball field or on the court for basketball of what skills and talent you have to prove that, hey, I deserve to be on a professional team making money so I can help a team possibly win a championship.
Yeah, yeah, that goes for sports and for any other thing that you guys want to go for, like what you want to work hard on and what's anything.
And that was really the whole purpose of this festival. Yeah, you keep talking.
Yeah, like you said, like that was the whole point of the festival and my back. And here he comes.
What?
I stayed almost completely silent ever since you left. Oh my god.
You've been silent?
Yeah, I kind of lost my wording ever since you left. I was like, oh.
Okay.
I did not expect this.
I'll see if I can cut that part out.
Just put on one eternity later.
Okay. So what were you last talking about?
About what's the whole like reason like behind the
Oh yeah.
sports
Okay,
festival?
yeah. So the reason why the sports festival is happening is really because really it's a chance for people in UA to get possibly recruited as a side hero or a sidekick to these main pro heroes to possibly get them into the workforce and the job. And this also later leads into Ochako's character development of the fact of that her parents really, I guess in a way, they struggle to, I guess, what is it? It implies like they're pretty not, they're like a middle class family, but they're not doing well in financial stuff, and she wants to get a job pretty fast so she can get the money and help support her family.
Yeah.
And you can feel for that because
that's what makes Ochako another relatable character aside from Deku and.
Like, and it's really emotional too because what is it? After her singles match against Bakugo that she loses, she puts on a face like, "Hey, I'm okay, I'm good." When she talks to Deku and Ida, but when they leave, she calls her parents, and she literally breaks down in tears, like saying like, "I failed you guys" and stuff like that. And her dad had to tell her like, "Why are you crying?" He's like, "I want," and she's like, "I want to, what is it? I want to help you guys be stable, and I want to pay the bills for you guys, and I want you guys to have a good time with your life. I don't want you guys to work hard, struggling to make money." And I thought the cool thing about the dad is like, "Hey, don't worry about it. When that time comes, we'll talk about that later, and you need to have a fun and blast of doing what you're doing." And I liked how her dad was like, "You have a whole life ahead of you still. You have 2 more years left of your school year at UA." And it was pretty relatable because, and it's another aspect of the sports thing, when you sometimes have these families that are in poverty, and you have the one star athlete in the family that makes it to the big leagues, and they're able to do what they're out to set. And most of the concurrence behind the conviction is they want to go to college, get a job in the professionals, make sure you get that first check, and when you get that first check, you put it towards your family to help them out.
Yeah.
And in an aspect, you feel for Ochako because that's what she wants to do. She wants to help her family, her mom and her dad.
Yeah. And I just really like Ochako just for that main reason, like how she wants to help her family and stuff, and not just her family, her friends. Yeah, how she's always there for them.
Oh yeah, and I gotta say, she's a tough battler. That Ochako Bakugo fight was really good, and she's smart herself. She's somewhat tried to pull a fast one on Bakugo, but Bakugo got the upper hand by basically coming up with something to beat her. And what I'm talking about is she's basically really taking hits and really just making a lot of debris. And while she's doing that, she's touching the debris to make it float. And when she thinks the time is right, she was gonna go land all that debris on Bakugo. But surprise, surprise, Bakugo, yeah, he didn't see it coming, but he later got himself out of it by just blowing it all up.
Yeah.
And in a way, it goes to show that Bakugo, he later, I guess in a way, developed a little bit of a respect for Ochako.
Yeah. Yeah, as we can no doubt see that Bakugo has somewhat of a soft spot, starts to have some part of a soft spot for like his classmates and stuff.
Oh yeah, like, especially when he develops his friendship with Kirishima. Like, and the funny thing is, Bakugo is somewhat like Vegeta. He's tough on the outside because he's very prideful. He won't really, it's rare he shows his compassion side of him. But when he does,
they're small signs.
It's small signs of like, hey, yada yada. Now, me watching this, I'm thinking, okay, Bakugo, when we're introduced to the villains, I'm thinking, okay, Bakugo might be a future villain to Deku in the future. Like, he'll let his pride get the better of him, and it will make him become a villain. We won't get into that till season 3. Because, really, season 3, it's mostly, even though it's mostly about, season 3 is mostly about All Might and Bakugo, really. With a little bit of Deku smidged in, but it's really about, the first part is really about All Might, and then the second half is really about, well, really, but I'm not going to get into season 3, whatever. But, yeah, so, to start off the UA Sports Festival, there was like basically an obstacle course race, and that obstacle course race really was a really fun one. It was a fun time, and Deku knew he can't use his powers really because he's not afraid of breaking his arm, but he just if you know he knows he can't do it at this time, so he uses his brains, which is another thing that I like. And I thought one of the more epic things of the part is he took a little measly robot thing, like little metal robot part apart, used that the entire race, and when he had to use it, he used it at the part where all the mines were set up. And he had a thought out plan where it's like, okay, if I get enough mines here, I should blow up into the air, which will fly me into the air. It will take me all the way almost to first place.
Yeah.
And where Todoroki and Bakugo are at. And they're basically the leaders. And what I thought was a really epic moment was when he gets past them and he's like, listen, he's like, the one thing to make me take the lead is if I do it, use the mines again, but the only way to do it is if I put my feet on Bakugo and Todoroki's back. And I was like, oh, Deku! And he slammed that and he started flying and he ran to the finish and he got first place. And I was like, this man really just kind of pumped Bakugo and Todoroki and showed them up. What do you have to say about that? Because that says a lot.
Yeah, I was like, yes, go do it, Deku! Show them up, and especially Bakugo, because oh my god, he needs to
pay it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and quote unquote, that's the second time Deku got Bakugo again and beat him.
Oh my god, I don't know if it's gonna give him like a trigger boner. Or
yeah, but then when we get to the cavalry battle part, it's basically later revealed that maybe winning wasn't such a good idea.
Yeah, that kind of backfired on him.
Because one of the instructors at the school, and really the hero at the school, one of the heroes at the school is like, yeah, the person who won, you're gonna get the most points in this cavalry battle. And the funny imagery was when everyone's like, so wait, if he has the first points and we take those points away from him, we get the lead and we get to go into the next round. And I like this image, and he's like, Deku's like, oh.
Everybody was just giving him the death.
And they showed like a thing where everyone's standing above him, and they're giving him the like look of like, yeah, we got you now. So basically, Deku has to come up with a team, and his team consisted of Ochako. He tried to get Ida on his team, but tell us what happened with Ida.
Yeah, he said something like if he keeps teaming up with Deku, that it'll just hold him back from being a hero and something like that.
Yeah, and I could say in a way, you can't fault him for doing that.
Yeah, true.
Like, I don't know, you could say, but it's hurtful to say that to your friend.
True.
But in the real world, you have to do what you have to do. You, even though it might be like, and you could possibly lose a friendship from it, if there's a chance where you have to get over the top over your friend, and they're like, listen, it's either you take this, otherwise I'm going to go after your buddy over there to take this raise. You just can't be like, nah, let him take the raise. You need to do you need to self a favor and find ways to, not limit yourself. And it's another good comparison to the real world of where, okay, you may be my friend, but I just can't let you just step over me and I just bask in your glory and I just follow you in your shadows. I need to do what I can to accomplish my goals and my dreams. And at first I saw it as a little shot, but then when you think about it, it's like, you know what, Ida's right. You got to take a stand for yourself.
Yeah.
And he also said in that same statement, like, listen, we may be friends, but we're rivals here. And it's true, because in the real workforce, I may be your friend in person, but if we're working to get a promotion or the same thing to a promotion, I'm gonna have to work harder than you to get it. And in an aspect, I'll be your rival.
Yeah, true.
And but the crazy thing is, I kind of saw this a little bit of improving that he teamed up with Todoroki because he's kind of helping Todoroki's case in a way.
Could be worse. He could have been with Bakugo.
That is true. That is true. So basically, then Deku went to go ask one of the characters called Mei Hatsume, who's a new introduced character. And this is what I was saying in my last video, like, there are later characters that are going to be in the show that you question, maybe Deku didn't really need the power. He could have been a support unit person. He's already smart as is. If he just could stay around, maybe say make little support items for heroes, he could have went to UA. And that's one thing about and it goes to show and it shows during the first Sports Festival, there are different classes. There's a support class. There isn't your hero classes. There's also was a business class that was selling like things to the heroes in the stands.
Yeah.
To like probably be as like a way of like, hey, if you hire me, I can be your pitchman for for your agency, and I can help you advertise and get your name out there in the world. And it goes to show maybe Deku didn't have to be a legit like in the field hero. He could have been a support type person to help heroes, or he could have been in the police force, or he could have been a business person that basically what in one case is like basically, you know, gets the name out there. So, and then he asked and then this last person he asked is Tokoyami.
Oh yeah.
Who his quirk is he has Dark Shadow, which basically in the daytime makes Dark Shadow weaker, but in the nighttime it makes him stronger, but at a cost, which is another one of the quirk drawbacks is if he's in a really dark area, yes, Dark Shadow is more powerful.
Yes, and that weakness will be more explained like in season 3.
Yeah, but they do tell you in season 2, like, or even earlier in season 1, they're telling like, yeah, if I'm in a darker area, I get more powerful, but Dark Shadow will lose control of himself and he can go crazy. But yeah, he does that. So that's their team, and I liked how it was set up where they were using Mei Hatsume's little boost feet or boost boots or whatever to get good gain in height and flying, and they would use Tokoyami's Dark Shadow to keep an eye out for other teams attacking, so he can be like a back shield to them. But later, everyone's trying to go for Deku. Later, Todoroki's team, who was consisted of him, Momo, who I see them as honestly a love interest.
Yeah.
But Tenya Ida, and then who was their last person on the team?
It was.
I forgot who the last person was on their team.
Wait, it wasn't. That was all, wasn't it? Or no?
Who?
That was all, wasn't it? Or no?
No, there was one more because you only had 4 to it.
Oh, that acid girl.
No, she was on Bakugo's team.
Oh yeah.
I really forgot.
Wow.
But, anyways, Todoroki's team catches up to Deku's team. They find Deku's team, and we find out Ida was actually hiding something. And Ida's quirk is really, he can, his thighs are his, yeah, really his thigh air are, no, or,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, his thigh areas, they have like little boost-in things, like exhaust pipes, like a car. And he can go at super speed, so he's good at running. And he uses his ability called reciprocal boost that basically makes him go at super speed, and no one in the class knew about it. And because he used it, Deku tried to move out of the way, but sadly, because Ito was going so fast, Todoroki was able to take the banner with all the points Deku had. So Deku's team had to go get those back.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this one part of the battle where what is it? Deku's trying to go for the thing, and Todoroki's trying to block his hand, but he uses his hand to whisk his hand away, and he didn't get damaged from it. And then he goes in to take it, but then it's later revealed that he didn't get the one he wanted. And so Bakugo's team later, after his conflict, comes in, try to take that same thing, but then the time runs out. So it looks like Deku's team didn't make the cut.
Mm-hmm.
But then Tokiyami later reveals like, hey, I got enough so we can get in. So yeah. And that was the end of the cavalry battle, so really there was like single tournament battles, which were pretty cool. There were some interesting matchups. We had Tokoyami versus Momo. You can talk about that match.
I felt kind of bad for Momo because she kind of got overwhelmed by the shadow and she never even got the chance to attack.
Yeah, and it later goes, and that one match later goes into her character development of making smarter decisions on the fly, in a way of, or in the aspect of she shouldn't overwhelm herself in certain circumstances of what to do.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and not doubt herself. Because I think Momo is a very strong-willed character in the show, and you can, and it shows that she's confident. Well, at first, when in season 1, it looks like she was a pretty confident person because it looks like she was one of the smarter classes, and plus she got into the school based off recommendations, which also Todoroki got into the school from recommendations because of his father.
Yeah.
And in season 1, you look at Momo, it's like, oh, she looks like that one brash girl that talks smart game, and she's really good, and she's probably one of the more powerful students in the class. But when she really gets destroyed by Tokiyami, where she doesn't make one offensive move, she's basically got wrung out. She was doubting herself. And even in the intro of the song, which I love the intro. Well, I do like Peace Sign, the first intro, but I love the third intro to My Hero Academia, Sora un Taba, or Ni and Tabe. In that version, it shows like Momo looking down, like she's unsure about something and stuff like that. And it even shows Ochako with what she went on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And and then a quick pacer. The one thing I do like about the openings is the music's really good for him, but the openings also, in a way, give a short little preview
of what's gonna happen. Or,
preview what's gonna happen during the season. Because the first opening of season 2 was getting ready for the sports festival and people fighting in the sports festival near the end of the opening. While season 2 opening 2 talks about the back half of the season of like the finals testing and the Stain arc. And especially the Ida and the Ida character development.
Yeah, and what I like to say, like on the Stain arc, that's when like even the villain starts to have some character development too.
Oh yeah. That's mostly towards Stain and stuff like that. So we get past all the battles and stuff like that, and we get to the battle at hand, which is Deku versus Todoroki. Now I'm feeling like, oh, Deku's gonna get to the finals, probably fight Bakugo again. And maybe that's where Bakugo gets the upper hand on him and beats him. But no. We all know Todoroki beats Deku. And basically, the whole aspect of that fight was, Deku's like, listen, Todoroki's pretty powerful. The only way I can win is if I can use my fingers. I can't use my full hand. I use my fingers one by one. And I see an opening. There's a chance I can ring him out possibly and beat him.
Yeah.
But when Deku tried that strategy and the wind forced Todoroki back, he just put up an ice shield to basically make sure he doesn't take the full brunt of the blowback attack he takes from Deku.
Yeah.
While all in this, there's storytelling in the battle, and you can probably go into more of this. What the storytelling is.
Yeah. That's when like Deku starts to connect with Todoroki, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like he starts to screaming and motivating Todoroki to fight him at his full strength, not just half his strength. He goes, "It's yours, your quirk, not his."
Yeah, which he was basically was talking about Endeavor, because before their match, he was talking to Endeavor. He's like, "Listen, just because Todoroki's your son, doesn't mean you have control of the power he uses or he has, or it's up to him what he decides to do with it." And he was Deku was basically telling Todoroki, like, "Listen, your father may have treated you poorly, and he may have been a total a-hole to you, but it's your power. So what if you're ashamed to use your fire side? There's no you don't have to be ashamed of doing it. It's your power. Just because you have your powers, the same power as your father, you shouldn't resent that. You should use it to your advantage." And in a way, it kind of led to Deku's downfall and him losing this match. Because they say if he didn't motivate Todoroki to use his firepower, he might have actually come out on top and won that fight. And even after the end, when he was talking to All Might, he's like, "Yeah, but it was my fault that I let him use his firepower. But that was the one thing Deku wanted to do, is fight him at his full potential." And I thought the battle was very great. It was a good battle. It may not be good from an action standpoint, but it was good from a storytelling aspect, because even during the battle, there's flashback scenes to the past when Todoroki was just a little kid, and what led up to basically his mom basically losing it.
Yeah.
She literally put basically hot water on his eye, and that's why he basically looks like the dude from Avatar.
Which, not a bad look, by the way. Not a bad look.
Yeah, well, he's a fanboy for all the girls. But, yeah, and it goes to show, like, this guy, Endeavor, really, really messed up, not only in the essence of his life, because after that, after what happened with his mom happened, he never, at this point in time, he never saw her again.
Yeah, true.
And it's another reason why he blames his dad and not using his powers, because he's like, "You made my mom go away from me."
Yeah, true.
And you made my mom go and drive insane. And it was a sad little backstory, because it was literally, when you first go to the backstory, him and his mom, you see that they had a loving relationship. And then at the end of the story, you could tell she was at her breaking point. And she was literally like mentally unstable for some time, because she even said it, like, he started to turn out like him, and I don't like that. And then she just turned around and she said she saw Endeavor in Todoroki, and that's when she did what she did. And it was just it's one of the more tragic backstories, and it's crazy that too, because it's another life. It goes back to the whole real world aspect. Things like this can happen to a family where, like I said earlier, a woman can get abused, have a kid, and because of all the abusing and stuff like that, it can literally drive somebody insane, drive the woman insane, where they either walk out or they might even attack somebody within the family, because they just can't take it anymore. There's too much pain and suffering going on. And you can probably tell that Todoroki's mom was going through a lot of pain and suffering. Because it's literally shown that Todoroki has more siblings.
Yeah.
So it goes to show that this woman's not been basically raped once, but on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what would I do if I was in Todoroki's situation, like having a father like Endeavor, and having a mother who just went through so much just because of the relationship she had with Endeavor and stuff.
Yeah, but there really was no relationship. Endeavor just really bought her off the street, basically.
Mm. Yeah, that's another reason. I wouldn't know what I would do in that situation. Right?
Yeah, so all getting past that really sad storyline, what is it? Basically, Todoroki wins the match because basically Deku's basically lost his use of his arms, basically. So Todoroki moves on, and he goes to the finals. He later meets Bakugo, and he just pulls the whole "I'm using my eye" stunt, and he loses because of it to Bakugo. But and that little, in a way, it completes a little. I would say he's at the midpoint of his character development, where he's like, just because he's thinking about what Deku. Because during the battle with Bakugo, he was thinking about what Deku was telling him to do.
Yeah.
And he's really conflicted at this moment. Like, should I use my fire power? Should I not? Should I use it? Should I not? And he loses the UA Sports Festival because of it, and Bakugo becomes a winner. The Sports Festival, but after really Ida loses, or what is it? Basically, there's a thing that's going on with his brother in Hosu City, and this is where we get introduced to the future, to the villain of the arc, the second part of the arc of the anime, Stain, where he later basically almost kills. At first, I would think he was going to kill Ida's brother, but he just injures him so bad where Ida's brother can't use his power, but really can't be a hero again and do things anymore.
Yeah.
And when Ida finds out, he literally loses it. He feels like he has to get retribution and revenge. And as we're getting to the second part, the one thing, so after the sports festival, the one thing they have to do, the Class 1A has to do, is internships with pro sports agency.
Yeah.
So Ochako, just to let you know, she goes to basically, in a way of a brawling type of hero where she can know close range attacks. So she doesn't have to limit herself to just her floating quirk and stuff. So she knows what to do on the field if she ever gets into a fight.
Yeah.
Todoroki surprisingly takes an internship with his dad, and at first when I was first watching, I'm like, why would he take an internship with his dad? It's later explained because after the sports festival, he later goes to see his mom in the hospital or in some kind of rehabilitation center, and it later shows that the mom is actually really happy to see her or see him again. But he won't tell that story till the tail end of season 2. And so Deku really goes to somebody who taught All Might as well, named Gran Torino.
Yeah.
So basically, every class member goes through split different ways. But with Ida, he takes an internship to go to Hosu City.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, uh-oh.
What's he gonna do?
What's he gonna do? And even before they all go their separate ways, Deku and Ochako were like, hey Ida, you okay? You alright? And they're like, I'm fine. You don't need nothing to worry about. I'm good. And he puts on the face like he's okay, he's fine. But when he turns his head and he cuts away, it shows like I'm about to go do something. And I'm about to go hurt somebody. And this begins the start of his character development arc. And it's a pretty powerful one at most. So going back to Deku and Gran Torino, basically Gran Torino tells him like, listen, I saw you at the sports festival. You're not flexible enough. You're just putting your power all into one, and you're just blowing it all. So basically, Gran Torino tells him, listen, if you use only 5% of your power, you'll be good. And Deku does that. No broken bones or nothing, and he's good. So then Deku later, in an alley, trains where I personally think is one of his iconic moves when he goes what is it? All for one. Or, yeah, no,
One
one
for
for
all.
all. Darn it, I can't.
Second time.
Second time I did this interview. One for all, full calling. One of the most iconic things is when he's just moving back and forth between buildings like he's a superhero and stuff like that. And it looks cool because when I do that, I'm like, when he does that, it's like,
Yeah.
and he trained himself to do that stuff because it's like he does the maneuver stuff. I'm like, oh, that's so dope that he can do it. Because of it, it makes him more, when he goes, and it's an ability he unlocks based on how much percent he can do.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps him be able to move a lot faster. Now, he's not as strong as if he used 100%, but he can be in a fight, to an extent. He may not damage a villain too much, but he can still fight and get out of situations. And he's a lot faster, too.
Yeah, not to mention he'll grow stronger by as time goes by.
Uh-huh. And I also like the aspect of how when they do full calling, the animation of it when it looks, because it starts off where it shows these red, like little beams, or these red, like I would say glands on Deku, whether it's on his face, which shows the axe, or throughout his entire body, and those things turn into just green electricity, and he starts to light up like he's a Super Saiyan or something like that.
Yeah.
And it looks really good. I was like, I like this.
Me too.
It looks really good on him because it's like, in a way, it's like he's containing the power within him, and it's a really cool way to like draw how he uses his ability full calling.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite, like, it's honestly probably one of my favorite anime power-ups. In a way, it feels like a little bit of a Kaioken, but he can keep it going.
Yeah.
For long periods of time. So he does full calling, or full cowling. It sounds like it's full calling, but it's really full cowling. But
that was my first mistake.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first. I'm like, oh, I thought he's like saying one for all, full calling. But it's when I actually watched like one subtitled episode, he called it full calling, or like a cowling, like a cow, like Batman's cowl, stuff like that. But basically, him and Gran Torino later take a subway to go fight some villains, and basically that's when boom, 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 boom. Who shows up again?
That guy with the brain.
And that is the Nomu. And I was like,
Nomu.
When I first watched this, I was like, I thought there was only one Nomu.
Then there's more.
It's later revealed that there are more Nomus.
that can only spell trouble.
And they attack Hosu City. And Deku gets the idea, wait, Ida's in Hosu City.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically, Gran Torino tells him to stay put, but Deku, he doesn't stay put. He goes out and he tries to go find his friend Ida.
Yeah, and this is where, like I said earlier, this is where, like, this whole villain character development starts.
Yes.
Yeah, with the hero Stain and, of course, the mastermind.
Mm-hmm. So basically, Stain is recruited by Shigaraki, are now the reformed League of Villains that are coming back into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
Shigaraki does not like Stain at all. He doesn't like what he stands for. He doesn't like anything he does. And really, what's his face? He hates him. And his main dude tells him, or the main guy he's taking orders from is like, listen, you gotta trust this guy. But he's like, I ain't trusting this guy. And he's like, how many Nomus you got? And the main and the guy he's orders to, or he works for, he's like, I'll give you 3. That's all I'll give you. So he gives him 3 Nomus to attack Hosu City. So Shigaraki and his other friend can do the warp teleportation thing, just standing on some kind of building or water tank, just watching at the destruction at hand. While in a back alley, Ida later finds and runs into Stain. And basically Stain's whole purpose is he's called the hero killer. And he kills heroes because he doesn't like what they stand for.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because when Ida finds him, he's like, now I finally got you. I'm going to get my revenge, and I'm going to kill you for what you did to my brother. And when he tries to fight Stain, Stain farly outmatches him. Like crazy. To the point, he basically, and he has these shoes which have spikes, and he literally just stabs his feet into Ida's arms. And then he licks his blood, and now Ida can't move. Now, it's later revealed that his quirk was, once he licks your blood, based on what blood type you are, you may be paralyzed for a certain amount of time. And he was basically about to kill him because he was like, how can you say, like, you're a hero, but you let this other hero stay here and possibly die? And he's like, because of your selfishness, that don't make you a hero.
Yeah.
You're trying to get revenge on me because what I did to somebody you cared about. I thought being a hero was about, like, saving others. And he points out, like, there was another guy, I guess, who was about to die to Stain. And he was like, you totally ignored that guy because you wanted my revenge. And Ida, like, looks back and he's like, he's right. I was only doing this for my personal self.
Yeah.
And that's when, before he dies, Deku does the whole little bouncing off the wall stuff again, saves him.
Smash!
Yeah, the iconic line, smash. But, he saves him. It takes Ida a moment to realize Deku. But when he realizes Deku, he's like, look, get out of here. This is not your fight, this is my fight alone. Knowing that he still doesn't understand. And stuff like that. But then Deku's like, well, I don't care. This might be dangerous and I might die. But this is the true essence to being a hero. And that's helping and saving people when they're in need. And Stain acknowledges that and realizes that, I'm like, this guy's different from the others. And he later acknowledges to Deku, like, listen, I admit, I won't kill you because you're different. You act like a true hero and what a hero should be. And the reason why Stain does this stuff is because in a way, I guess in a way, he respects All Might. In a way.
Yeah.
Because it comes across those way like he respects him. Like All Might's a true hero. He still wants to fight him, but he respects him because that's his point he takes. He's just doing the opposite of what All Might would do.
Which is why he constantly says All Might is worthy. Everyone is just a fake.
Oh yeah. And go on.
Like he's insane, but there's idealism in what he does.
Yeah, and that goes for any random, insane, probably mass murderer. They think what they're doing is right because maybe someone they looked up to is like, oh, this guy did something that he's worthy of doing. Why can't I do the opposite? And it's another real world example of there are people out there that will kill people because they stand for something that's completely opposite of somebody else. And it's just dark. So basically, Deku fights Stain for a time being. He gets cut and he gets his blood licked.
Yeah.
And so basically Deku's immobilized for the time being. And he's about to kill, Deku. But the one thing is Deku does acknowledge, like, now with my power, I know I can fight this guy. So there's no need to be afraid because I got my full calling, even though I'm at 5% of my power. So basically, right before he tries to kill Ida again, Todoroki shows up again. And it's later revealed that Todoroki with his dad showed up to Hosu to help fend off and save the city. So basically, he comes in and he tries to like really fight himself.
Yeah.
And basically Ida's on the ground, still paralyzed, saying, this isn't your fight, this is my fight. I need to get revenge on my brother and Genium. or like he said like I am Ingenium or something now, and then Todoroki's like, oh, you're an Ingenium now. He's like, when did that happen? He's like, man, I thought, and Todoroki's basically like, in his head, he's basically talking to Ida's like, listen, I thought I was the conflicted one. You're the one who's having conflicted, and he's basically saying like, listen, I know you're going through a lot of stuff. You lost your idol and your brother because of this guy, but if you're gonna be here and you want to do something about it, man, get up and fight then and help. So while Ida's watching Deku and Todoroki fight standoff, Ida later gets up and he comes and helps for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they later stop Stain and they beat him. And I thought this battle was really, really well done.
Yeah, it's yes, it's dark and gruesome, but there's and I have a hate and love and hate relationship towards Stain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cause
yeah,
he's insane and he just wants to go around killing fake, or who he calls fake heroes.
But at the same time, you can understand to see where he possibly might be coming from, because there are people like that. Well, it's shown that there are heroes out there in the world that I won't say are fake heroes, but they don't do good things all the time. Like, for example, Endeavor.
Mm.
So, yeah. So they later beat him, and they later injure Stain. So when they think they got Stain locked up, they're good for gone. Anomo actually tries to take Deku away, and Deku can't do anything. While Stain, he somehow gets out of the cuffs. He kills the Nomu and saves Deku. Because one, he acknowledges Deku for being something, but then he gives some really crazy, not ominous speech of how on what heroes should be, and basically talks some
all might is worthy speech and
crazy nonsense, and then he basically passes out due to it. At first, I thought he died because of all the damage he's sustained, but it's later revealed that he just passed out from it. And the crazy thing is that one speech inspired a lot more, and it's later revealed at the end of the season that now there's villains popping up because of what he said.
Yeah.
And he's like, and all the villains are getting in their heads like, you know what, this guy's right. And that's another reason why Shigaraki did not like him at all. Because he got more publicity than him. Because even Shigaraki, when he looks at paper, he's like, no, it should have been me that got all the publicity for what I did. But this guy makes a speech, and he gets all this?
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing is, it was like, they literally explained how everyone who saw his video, despite really the world trying to shut that video down, there would always be someone else that would leak the video and keep popping it right back up.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes on to show that he inspired people of heroes. Because even one of the classmates in the Class 1A is like, man, he talks good. He's pretty convincing. And then Deku's like, oh, come on, guys. Really. He's a bad guy. He tried to really kill people. But basically, the government comes in after Deku, Todoroki, and Ida are healing, and they're basically telling them, listen, your internship, you guys are going to be punished. But you won't be punished indirectly. Your interns will be punished for what they did because they didn't keep a close eye on for you. And plus, you were fighting when you're not supposed to be fighting. And it later leads into the whole aspect of these kids can't fight in public.
Yeah.
So, and it goes to show that there is a law when it comes to using your quirks in public.
Mm-hmm.
And Ida later takes it, and Ida later takes it like not making sure he doesn't do it again. Because late in season 3, and even a little bit in the My Hero Academia movie, whenever they get into a certain circumstance where they have to deal with a villain, Ida's like, we can't do this because we can't do it. And the character's like, wait, why can't? Why? The villains are doing bad things. And he's like, we can't do this. If the government says we can't do it, we can't do it. And it's like, well, it sucks, but it's a little bit of a hint. And I'm like, there's nothing you can do. But at the same time, it's like, took it as myself. I'm like, but they're trying to self-defend themselves. But apparently, they gave Stain really bad injuries.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, it sounded like they could have probably got arrested from those injuries alone that they suffered to him. And the funny thing is, it later shows that because they did that technically legally, it makes them no better than any villain because they're really fighting illegally.
Mm. That's what Stu said like later on.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. So, anyways, they head back to the school, and the end of the season 2 is really the finals. Their finals. So they're basically their final exams.
Mm-hmm.
So before the final exams, the one thing I thought was cool is they had a little hero course thing. Basically, Deku kind of showed his full calling abilities off to the class, and the class were basically like, "Oh, Deku's gonna finish dead last." But then next thing you know, Deku's flying past the tape guy. I forgot his name. I think his name is Sato or something like that. But he flies past him, and everyone's looking on the screen. They're like, "What the hell is going on with Midoriya?" And they're like observing him, and they're like, "Wait a second, I've seen those moves before." And the funny thing, what a coincidence is, Deku's using the moves that Bakugo typically uses.
Yeah.
And it's like, it goes to show that Deku somewhat, he not only respects Bakugo, but he admires Bakugo as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it was impressive. And this is later, and after that, All Might later has a little talk to him, saying like, "Listen, okay, this is the full story. I'm gonna tell you the full thing." He's telling the full story of how One for All was started, and how his future villain, or how his villain, or his really arch nemesis, All for One. Thank goodness I can finally say that now. But was the guy that gave him the injury.
Yeah.
And he basically tells Deku, "Listen, I'm not trying to rush you to get powerful and stuff like that, but one day my power will fade away, and you're gonna have to fight him." And it was powerful storytelling because at the end, the Deku was like, "You know what? Okay, you're right. But you know something? We're gonna fight him together." But the one thing All Might was keeping in his head is like, "No, little young Midoriya, I won't be fighting with you." He didn't tell him that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, that moment, like, wait, like, is he gonna die or something, or like, or is he just gonna? I'm just like, oh my god, so what's gonna happen next?
Yeah. So the end of the season, we get to the the final exams. So the final exams take place, and they're split into two teams like they did way back in season 1 when it came to the heroes versus villains thing. But they're split into teams. But the smart thing is, really before, somebody earlier who said, "Oh, the final exams consist of the same robots that were in the test," but because of the USJ attack, all the heroes at the school was like, "Listen, we can't be tough on these kids anymore. We just can't give them robots. We need to really prepare them for what villains are really like in the field." So
yeah.
they get heroes from the school to fight most of class 1, pairs of class 1A. But I remember Deku and Bakugo were paired up together,
Mm-hmm.
and Momo and Todoroki were paired up together. Sue and Tokoyami was paired up together. The Beam guy and Ochako were paired together.
Yeah.
Mineta and Sato were paired together.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other classmates were really paired together equally. But really, the main people who got the most shine were really Deku Bakugo, and Momo and Todoroki. A little bit of the Mineta and but really it was more Mineta's
Yeah, that was
final exam.
That's pretty hilarious, though.
And then they showed a little thing towards Ochako and stuff like that.
It showed hints like how she felt about,
Deku. And basically, the long story short, basically, they're facing Android 13, who was in season... Yeah, and that's what the hero's name was. So they faced who showed up in the last season 1, to help them try to get out of the USJ attack. And basically, the guy who does the beams is basically like, oh, you're trying to come up with a strategy like Midoriya, and because you like him, don't you? And Ochako basically blushes, and she loses it for a second, but then because of her internship of learning close combat, she later succeeds and wins. So, and it's funny because Deku and the others are watching up on the same screen they watched back in season 1 when they saw Deku versus Bakugo, but they can't hear the sound of what they're saying. So Sue asked Ochako, like, what were you and the other guy talking about? And it takes like Ochako a minute, he's like, oh, nothing. We weren't talking about nothing. Because she wants to hide the fact that she has feelings for Deku and stuff like that. And it was really a funny, cute moment. Then the next main thing is Mineta's, and it's later. And the way how they structure the final exams, they structure them where certain weaknesses because of past things that came up in their lives and that the teacher's seen. Mm-hmm. And one of the things is Mineta, even though he is a perv most of the time, it goes to show that he's kind of a scaredy cat. Mm-hmm. And in his final exam, it's later explained to why he's doing what he's doing. And if you don't mind saying what he wants, what his goal is, really.
Well, I think, let's just say he wants to be popular with the ladies and, right?
Yeah, he basically wants to be a hero that's popular with women, who women go to, basically, and stuff like that. And I was like, and it's funny because they put him against Midnight, who's one of his idols as well, because she's to him, is very attractive woman. So,
no kidding.
He passes his final exam. So we have Todoroki and Momo teamed up together. And really, this was more of a Momo character development. Because if you go back to the sports festival, the one thing they did is pair it up is that, and she was with Aizawa, and Aizawa knew, like, she doubts herself at certain times. She doesn't believe in herself. Mm-hmm. She doesn't come up with, like, good, fast strategies. Or, like, she'll come up with a strategy, but she'll doubt herself as it actually working. Because, she tried to tell Todoroki, like, I have an idea, but she didn't really trust her idea fully. And almost got those two failing because of it, but because of Todoroki's words saying, like, hey, when you were the chance to be the class rep, I voted for you to be the class rep. And in a way, I saw that as kind of like a little shipping moment between the two, because it's like, oh, he cares about her.
Yep.
But Todoroki's telling Momo, like, yo, I voted for you because I feel like you make good decisions and stuff like that. So they later pass, and Momo stops learning to doubt herself. And I like her character development arc, because you can relate to it. You doubt yourself all the time, and you don't know if you're right or you're wrong. I mean, for one, she was right.
Yeah.
And then we have Deku and Bakugo versus All Might, which was a really good fight, because it goes back to the internal dispute between the two, because Bakugo's not listening to a word Deku's saying. Mm-hmm. But later in the battle, because they know they can't beat All Might one in hand-to-hand combat, they have to run away and escape by the exit. Basically, Bakugo swallows his pride and takes a step as a man, and it's like, okay, I'll work. I may hate you, but I'm gonna work with you. Just freaking help us pass, and then that's it. And it was cool because it was like they've come so far to the point where we're starting to get to the point that they may hate each other, mm-hmm. but they sure as hell respect each other.
Yeah.
And you can see that even though Bakugo hates Deku, he grows a respect for him. Anything you care to say about that?
Yeah. Bakugo's character development, like it has really improved since season 1. That's all. And yeah, like you said, he starts to grow more respect for Deku, and I don't know. I honestly don't have that much to say other than yeah, that was a good fight.
That was a good fight. So they later do pass the class, plus their final by escaping, and then the final episode was basically really Shigarachi's character development of finding out why really Deku does what he does for a reason, and he literally has him on his hand point, because if he couldn't has full hand around Deku's neck, he could literally just end him. So basically, all the classmates go shopping for the summertime, and Ochako basically leaves him because she thinks a bunch of just lovey-dovey crap. And he runs into Shigarachi, and Shigarachi has him by the neck.
Yeah.
And basically, Shigarachi asks Deku, like, why do you do what you do? And he's basically like, I just do what I do because I want to help people, right? That's what being a hero is about. And he's like, and at the end of the discussion, he's like, that's it. That's the reason why I've been missing. And I think that, and this was the part when Shigarachi went from being just a generic villain to a crazed, I'm going to take the head spot villain.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh no, I'm done playing games now. I'm about to go kill people. And in a way, when he talked about, when Deku talked about All Might, it motivated him. Almost in a way how Stain was motivated by All Might as well. And when Ochako pops up, she's like, are you okay? And then she sees that was the same guy from the USJ. And it was crazy because I was like, how does no one see this? And the way the dude Shigarachi was talking was insane. Like he was going to kill people.
Yeah, it made my skin crawl. That's it.
And he literally lets Deku's go, and it shows the symbolism of that, the fact that All Might has his greatest villain, All for One. And in a way, it looks like Deku might have his version of All for One in Shigarashi.
Yeah.
Because it looks like they may be the two duo to possibly end the show off. Or the entire show off, where it's him versus him. And it's Shigarachi's honestly an interesting character in my opinion. He has mixed values on certain things, but when he starts off, he has mixed values because he's always like scratching his neck and stuff like that, and he was doing all sorts of unnatural things, and I was like, what the hell is this guy's problem? At first, when I saw this guy, I'm like, oh great, this guy again. I thought he was some crazy talking buffoon when he first showed up. Yeah. And he kept coming back. I'm like, why do they keep putting emphasis on this guy? He just scratches his neck around, doing nothing, talking out the butt with some kind of stupid monologuing stuff. But then when he stopped and he talked to Deku, that's when he's like, oh my god, you gave me the keys to the pod. You gave me the keys to the car. Thank you. And that's when he lost it. That's when he goes on full villain mode.
That's when he understands why Hero Killer Stain is so out there and popular and
captivating, really.
Yeah.
And that will lead into season 3 where he starts his own league, and with the help of All for One, he later, season 2 ended on a high note, and it was only the start of things to come that kept getting darker.
You'll have no idea what's gonna happen next.
Well, if you haven't seen it, but yeah. But other than that, season 2 was a really good season. It's my favorite season because I just love the character development, and I think that's the thing that makes this season really good. The character development, all the characters, Todoroki, a little bit of Deku, understanding how to use his power, his one for all better, Ida, feeling for Ochako's moments, Momo, and in some cases Shigarashi of what he now starts to believe in, and it's just really crazy to how the character development in this series really went on and got better. And it kept this thing afloat because you have these characters who had somewhat same like little story, somewhat same backstory. Well, not backstories, but same personal conflicts going on. Ochako and Momo were dealing with things within themselves of Ochako wanting to do the best for her family and Momo always doubting herself.
Yeah.
While Todoroki and Ida focus more on their on the family aspects of Ida losing his idol and his brother, of him not being a hero, which made him always want to be like his brother, and the whole aspect of not Bakugo, Todoroki and his family conflicts with what went on in his child life to now, and even going back to the Stain battle. He was like, yeah, I thought my mom would never forgive me for what happened. But when my mom opened up to me and forgave me, and she asked me to forgive her. I thought that was just great. And this the character development did. The storytelling was great. And that's why I love season 2 the most. Because not only the action at the end against Stain, but the character development in season 2 kept me afloat. Because I'm like, it makes you feel for these characters and what they went through. Like, you can relate to all these storylines of having an abusive family, or losing a sibling or a family member that you see the person who did it, and you want to get the revenge and retribution, even though knowing you can die. And
even though knowing as well that it's not really right.
Yeah, it's not really the right thing to do, because either you're gonna put someone else in danger, or you're just doing it because of really selfish reasons. Because that whole Ida thing, he did it because of a selfish reason. And I think Stain also acknowledged that, like, you're just doing this because you're just being selfish for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you kill me. What is that gonna accomplish? Your brother ain't gonna be a hero ever again still. You just have something that you did that you'll never. And it's always it's always a trope in all different shows, not just anime, all different shows where usually sometimes those characters get that revenge.
Yeah.
And guess what? After they get their revenge,
what happens?
Nothing. And they're like, I really did this for nothing. I had all this pent-up anger inside me for nothing. And Ida almost found it the hard way because he would have lost his life. He would have got worse than what his brother got.
Yeah.
And it's just a powerful season. And season 3 is powerful in its own words, but I would say it's more powerful in the first half of season 3 than the second half. Second half is just like really, stuff.
Yeah, it's more like sporty.
Just competition stuff. Season 3 part 1, that's morely about the personal stuff too.
Which we'll get to that in a later video.
Yeah, and it's just powerful that all these characters you can feel for.
Yeah.
That's just my overview of season 2. It's my favorite season of all the seasons.
I really gotta get my family to watch it.
Now, the opening, I love season 3's opening the most. Odd Future, that's my favorite opening, no doubt about it.
Yeah, me too.
You already know, once I hear that do I get pumping. But anyways, your overview of season 2 before we end this video.
Yeah, this whole thing with Shigarashi, like I don't know what's gonna happen next after this. So.
Well, really, we don't know what's gonna happen in season 4, but at the time when this came out, we didn't know what was gonna happen.
Well, yeah, I'm just keeping the viewers guessing.
Yeah. Anything about the character development you would like to talk about?
I'm I'm starting to like not just the heroes, but the villains as well. Like, I'm liking some of the villains, including Mrs. Psycho, if you know what I mean.
Oh. Yeah, that. I can't say it. Can't sky that. But you know what he's talking about? You know what he's talking about. Anyways, guys, season 3 will be coming soon. Not soon. No, it might take another week or two, but yeah. We just got actually done recording season 1 review, so this review will probably be posted maybe a week later, or a week or two in advance from season 1. And anyways, yeah. So this has been Ken for 15 and the Red Wolf. Other than that,
Achoo!
other than that, see you guys later, and see you guys on the next video. Peace.
Peace.